Yeah. We are starting with the Operations Committee meeting. That paper is over on the table by the door. To speak, that you don't miss your opportunity because you didn't sign up.
Good evening. Welcome to the Operations Committee meeting. I'll call the meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. Okay, sorry. My microphone was too far away. I'll try that again. Calling the meeting to order of the Operations Committee at 6:04 p.m. on January 13th, 2026. This evening, I note the presence of committee members, myself, Beth Brindle, the Vice Chair, Liz Muirhead, Board Member Holly Charest, and Board Member Shauna Maxwell is excused this evening. All right. So next up is the approval of the minutes. Approval of the November 11th, 2025 Operations Committee meeting minutes. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes? Still closer? If no questions or comments, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then moving on tonight, we do have a presentation tonight, a construction update, and Act 34 information regarding North Brandywine Middle School.
Okay, good evening. Happy New Year. So David Schrader with Schrader Group, and we have Matt and Yanni from ICS, and we'll make a little quarterly update. I think last time we were in front of you was September, so it's great to be here talking a little bit further about the progress we've all made here. The projects highlighted here indicate the projects that we've been engaged in over the years, and there are two grayed-out projects, the North Brandywine Middle School Phase 1 and the Reeseville Elementary School addition are both grayed out because we have completed those projects, so we're moving on to discuss the balance of these projects with you. So this evening we'll go quickly through the Phase 2 of North Brandywine, which is also the Act 34 hearing discussion that you brought up, the Scott Middle School renovations, Doe Run Elementary School, and where we are currently with Kings Highway Elementary additions and renovations. Beginning with North Brandywine. So, as you may remember from Doe Run Elementary School project, we are mandated to hold a public hearing called the Act 34 hearing as part of the planning for a project of this sort. That Act 34 hearing, in further description on this page, is intended to be an appropriate, transparent public presentation. In that presentation, we talk about the history of the district, the history of the project. We then begin to discuss the project itself and go through some of the planning documents that are put together to assemble the Act 34 numbers that you'll see in a second. We also then talk about the costs and the financing, and then it's open for public comment after that point in time. So tonight we're talking to you briefly about the Act 34 information that you will approve at the end of the month in the interest of holding an Act 34 at least 20 days after that. So the two things that we'll be asking you to approve in your board meeting at the end of January include a resolution. The resolution speaks to two numbers, and those are the two bright red numbers here. One is a maximum project cost, and that project cost is based upon the design development estimates plus all of the project costs that go along with that. So that number that you see of $96 million is not the construction costs that we anticipate. And if you remember, we do bid the project afterwards, and the project has to come in within a reasonable, it has to be under the $96 million, and it has to be around the maximum building construction cost of $57 million. So you're going to be passing a resolution to authorize a project in the neighborhood of $57 million of building construction. That does not include site costs. It does not include soft costs. That's just the building construction portion. In addition to that, you'll be approving an advertisement to put in the paper to start to advertise to the community about the attendance at the Act 34 hearing. Hopefully this is still on, yes. So the timeline related to this is tonight we're just reviewing that Act 34 resolution and advertisement and talking about the reason for that being approved on January 27th. On January 27th, after you've reviewed that document, we would ask you to approve the Act 34 resolution and advertisement. By February 3rd, the advertisement has to be in the paper. Has to be in the paper 20 days prior to holding the Act 34 hearing. We will organize the Act 34 hearing with your solicitor, your administration, your financial advisors, and so on. Held on the 24th, the hearing is held open for 30 days after the fact to March 26th for further written testimony, and at that point, the district closes the hearing and all of the contents. The intent of this project, assuming that we get all of the approvals in place on the appropriate time frame, would be going out to bid in March, with bids probably coming in April or May. So that's the intent of the project schedule from this point forward. I'll go through more, but does anybody have questions about the Act 34 hearing or the advertisement and resolution?
I don't, but we're having a little bit of problems with our mics. If you could just come closer to it so that everyone can hear. And I'm going to say that to my colleagues as well when we are speaking tonight in our committees. Let's get really close to the mic. Thank you. Sorry.
No, thank you. People usually get mad at me for how loud I am in a mic, so I appreciate that. Okay, and just a little reminder, we've been working very hard on this project and very hard on the approval processes. This is a presentation that we gave you probably back in September of the exterior of the building. You'll see more information about this in the Act 34 booklet. Just gives you a sense of what might be going on with the exterior and interior of the project. And everybody keep in mind the intent of this project. The addition that we put onto North Brandywine will actually become one of the classroom wings of this project. So that was not put on in vain. That was put on to accommodate the growth in students, to shift the student population to these two buildings, this building and Scott, and will become one of the classroom wings for the overall project. So once this building is built, the old building will be torn down and the site will be restored in its place. So I'm going to hand it to Matt Kelly for Scott Middle School and Doe Run, then we'll talk briefly about Kings Highway.
Thanks, David. Can you guys hear me okay? Just make sure I'm close enough here. So first, want to touch on Scott Middle School. This was completed over the summer. There was a few items that we wanted to finish since our last meeting here. So the entire exterior, all the concrete, beautiful building, that is all complete. All the roofing is complete. Got a brand new flagpole out front and everything. So there's some closeout documents still happening, but the construction outside and inside is complete, except for some minor brick pointing. These are a couple of the close-up pictures, some of the concrete coming in the stairs at the front, the new flagpole, and then we did put in new around exterior windows as well. That was kind of the last piece here in the last couple months, along with some boards that we completed inside. So just sharing a couple of those photos. On to Doe Run, which is an exciting project. I added a key plan here because in the construction world we talk about different areas on our drawings, and we talk A through E is what we have here. Just to highlight this for everybody, the area A is where the main lobby is. It's also where the library is, a couple classrooms. B, C, and D are all the classroom wings, and then the gym and the main mechanical areas. That's that area E there on the left side. So at this point, we have completed all the foundations and all the slabs, slab on grade. The exterior and interior framing is nearing completion in all the areas except for area E. Area E is the last area we're doing. That has a lot of new steel that's coming in today, yesterday. It's going to be coming in the next couple weeks, and that should be done in the next few weeks, so that then the next phase of the exterior framing and everything can continue. We do have drywall going in, which is a big milestone. We've been able to put roofing and dry in the area A and parts of area B, so that and actually enclose it temporarily so that we can heat the space and do the work we need to do inside. So big milestone, so that we can really start doing a lot more on the inside and getting ready for opening the school. Couple of pictures on the exterior here. You can see on the left here, this is going to be the future courtyard. Beautiful curtain walls in there. You can see the roofing starting to go in there. For anyone that likes stormwater, that middle one is an infiltration bed that's necessary for stormwater by the township. And then picture of the interior lobby here when you first walk in. Did a little comparison of what it's going to look like versus what it looks like right now. So, it's definitely going to be a beautiful entrance once it's all said and done, and we're making some good progress. Few additional things behind the walls, behind the closets that you don't normally see. We're making really good progress on all the mechanical, electrical, plumbing work, and these are a few pictures showing that. And then just some things, some milestones to be aware of as we approach the spring. I mentioned roofing. The roofing should be complete the March time frame. You're going to start. You go by there right now, you'll start to see the stone facade, but you'll also start seeing more of the curtain wall and more of the metal panels. So really start taking shape. And then some of the pieces that you might not normally see, but we'll start flying up mechanical HVAC equipment to the roofs, and those will be coming here in the springtime, and we're on target to open in August 26. So I am going to briefly touch on the budget and some upcoming awards for Doe Run. Just as a little history, this all-in budget was $83 million. That includes soft costs. We originally budgeted construction costs around $67 million. We have awarded $54 million, and we have project contingency that we have not touched, which is great since we're over 50% done with the building at this point. That leaves us with about $12 million for additional awards, which leads me to the next slide, which we've always anticipated some off-site utilities. We have to bring in new domestic water and new sewer onto the project from down the street. So we've been working with PA American and PennDOT to get this to a point where we can get it out to bid. We're budgeting roughly between $5 and $7 million for everything. This also includes a future pump station for the sewer that is going to be on township property that any of the neighboring people can connect to as well. So we are looking to award the water scope in February and the sewer pump station storage tank in March at the latest. If we can bring that sooner, we will do that. But even with adding in the $5 to $7 million, we are still well under budget. So all good news there. And I'll hand it back over to David.
And related to that sewer, you may remember that South Brandywine Middle School, now Doe Run Elementary School site, was a septic site. And so as part of the agreement with the township, we had to agree to the pump station and the sewer to make sure that that was now served by the sewer. In terms of Kings Highway Elementary School, we've been in front of the Planning Commission and in front of the township a couple of times at this point in time, and there's been a request from the township to conduct a traffic study both on site on the highway and front. And the result is there will be some modifications to the circulation on the site, minor modifications, and some driveway changes at the front, as well as probably a turn lane in front. So as a result of that process, hiring the traffic engineer and going through that analysis with the township, at this point in time, we're probably looking at land development plans being back to the township end of this month, which would put us in front of the Planning Commission again in March. And assuming the process moves along, we would probably see ourselves with approvals in the fall and go out to bid at that point for Kings Highway. So that schedule has to remain a little bit in flux as we work through this with both the Township and County Conservation District. So you can't hold us to that until we know more as the process moves on. But a reminder that we will be working on both the exterior of the building and bringing the entire interior of the building up to a contemporary building and replacing the modulars out back with classrooms. And so it will be a building that once you walk into it feels like many of your other buildings that have been upgraded since. And I think it'll be a great improvement for the families of Kings Highway. So just a sense. So that concludes the presentation of the updates to the construction projects, and we take any questions.
Thank you. I have just one question. I think you sort of referenced this in the, at Doe Run, the future pump station and the sewer tie-in. Forgive me if you've covered this in previous presentations, but the, will there be other, like, residential customers tying into that sewer as well, or is it just?
Yeah, so part of that agreement was to size that pump station and the piping to accommodate anybody along the roadway in front of the school district. So we do have that ability for people to tie in as time goes on.
Okay. But once it's complete, the maintenance and future upkeep of that would be turned over to East Fallowfield Township?
That's correct.
Okay.
To the sewer authority, yep.
Thank you. I feel like I also want to mention, I know we all know it, but we have a bigger audience than usual, and just, it's really exciting to see all the progress at Doe Run and also at the other buildings. And I just want to note that the buildings that these new construction projects are replacing, Callan Elementary and East Fallowfield, are almost 100 years old and 90 years old, I think. So it's, and I know East Fallowfield was old when I went there. I have children who have graduated, and my oldest is now 23, and the discussion of North Brandywine was going to be a new building when he was starting 6th grade. I'm looking at Director Muirhead, who had a cohort in his class.
I remember it well.
Yeah, so just wanted to mention that these have been a long time coming, and it's really exciting to see them. Do any other committee members or members of the board have questions?
The only question that I had is for the projects that we reviewed tonight. Obviously, Doe Run, we've already done the bond offering for that. For North Brandywine, have we done the bond offering for that, or is that something that we would do in conjunction with this project being approved?
Yeah, so we've done some bond offerings. I think we have one more to go.
Okay.
And that is going to be determined upon the balance of what we need. So we might not need as much as we originally had requested. So we do have one more draw to do for this project.
And that's all part of our broader plan for this project?
Yes,
So
that is correct.
we have one more bond offering planned, and the size of that could be
Is to be
smaller than we had
determined.
originally
Yes,
projected? Okay.
correct.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just getting back to the right tab here. Let me see. Can I? Sorry, I'm just getting back to the correct tab. I somehow lost it. Okay, moving on to agenda items. Can you hear me okay? Agenda item A, that the Board of School Directors ratify the proposal from Tri-State HVAC for the Dectron circuits repair at the senior high school not to exceed the amount of $32,317.63 as presented. Are there any questions from committee members?
No.
And for other members of the board? All right. Hearing no further, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
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 All right, agenda item B, that the Board of School Directors approve the proposal from All Pro Gutter Guards to repair gutters at both the senior high school and the facilities building for a total cost of $4,860 as presented. Any committee questions or comments?
I was just surprised at how different these two quotes were. Obviously, we're going with the low bid, but it's like half the high bid. So I appreciate that we bid it out, but I just, always want to raise the question, like, why were they so wildly different? Do we have? Hello?
Brazil, do you have any?
There he is. You should have known I was going to ask you something.
I'm not sure the difference, but I will tell you, they're both really specialty gutters. They're not like a gutter on your house or a commercial. One is
Yeah.
on the back of our warehouse, and the other one is the right-hand side of the portico going into the high school. So I was shocked myself.
Yeah. So it might just be because they're not standard, it was just more expensive
Sure,
for
and
one of them to do it than
it
the
may
other.
be that one company manufactured it right on site. I mean, someone pull up and it comes out of a sheet machine to do it that way. And I would hope that would be how they installed the facility ones, as it's 92 or 98 feet long.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
All right. Okay, any other questions or comments? Hearing no further discussion, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
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 Agenda item C, recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the proposal from Stage Drop Portable Stages and Event Furniture for an outdoor all-weather stage for graduation ceremonies held on the main campus for a total cost of $38,584.52 as presented. Are there any questions or comments from committee members?
My only question is, I don't see a note here as to what the cost was last year. Do we
I think
have,
this is a replacement of an existing structure.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is actually a replacement for the stage it was an indoor stage that we would use outdoors, so it really wasn't contingent for the weather. So we are actually going with a new stage. The other one was put together. Jeff can speak to that by, barely holding on, so it was time to get a new one.
Well, I will say, and I sent them to Superintendent Dr. Barczyk, pictures of the old stage that was inside, and it was literally held together with zip ties and duct tape. Can you hear me now?
yes. Yeah,
So the one that we disposed of was held together with zip ties and duct tape. And
Okay.
I have pictures to show it.
wow.
So this one we're purchasing is an exterior stage, which is going to last us a long time,
Yeah, do we know the estimated useful life?
minimum 10 years.
Perfect, okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Agenda item D, recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the quote from Advanced Elevator Security to provide software maintenance for the Pinnacle Card Access System for the Coatesville Area School District for a total cost of $6,420 as presented. Any questions or comments from the committee?
I have a question. Is this a routine that we're expected to have a cost every year for, or is this to cover us for an extended period of time past a year?
So this was a one-time fee just to get the system back up to a functioning status. We had a lot of card readers that actually went down. Is that a little bit better? I'm really eating it now. Okay. To get the card readers back up to a status. So this should just be a one-time fee for this company. We're actually moving onto a different company, which we're going to start to get things a little bit cleaned up with that.
Okay.
So,
Excellent, thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. All right, any other questions? on item D? All right, seeing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Agenda item E, Navigate 360, recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the proposal from Navigate 360 for the purchase of a 4-month term for subscription services beginning on December 1st, 2025, and ending March 31st, 2026, used by the Coatesville Area School District for access control for a total cost of $125 as presented. Are there any comments or questions from committee members? And from the full board? Hearing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Agenda item F, DAC Tech CASD Emergency and Safety Equipment. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the submitted quote by DAC Tech for the purchase of equipment to be used by the Coatesville Area School District Police and Emergency Management Administrators within the district's Emergency Operations Command Center for a total cost of $2,399 as presented. Are there any questions or comments from committee members? And any from the full board? Okay, seeing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Agenda item G, Connections Admin Server, that the Board of School Directors approve the purchase of a replacement uninterruptible power supply and service between Connections and Coatesville Area School District for the district server room in the amount of $68,095 as presented. Are there any questions or comments from committee members?
I just wanted to double check. It looks like based on the preventive maintenance part of this proposal that this is expected to have a 7-year life?
I believe that's
Okay.
correct, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Agenda item H, Connections North, I'm sorry, I should have bundled these. Connections North Brandywine uninterruptible power supply. This is the same thing, but 2 replacement uninterruptible power supply between Connections and Coatesville Area School District for North Brandywine in the amount of $718 as presented. Any comments or questions from board members? Committee members or the full board? Hearing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes. Agenda item I, recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the purchase of replacement laptop docks between Connections and Coatesville Area School District for the district workstations in the amount of $15,987 as presented. I will just note that in speaking with Mr., I think with Rich, that this is to replace some cheaper upfront costs, but cheaper quality products that were continually having to be replaced. So I don't know if there are any other questions or comments from committee members or from the full board. All right, seeing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
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 Letter J, recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the purchase of replacement desktop computers between Connections and Coatesville Area School District for the cash multimedia and yearbook workstations in the amount of $76,788 as presented. And this would be for the yearbook classroom and yearbook classes to use. Any questions or comments from committee members?
Yeah, I just had a question here. I mean, it looks like because of the graphic design type demands, these are pretty souped up computers. So again, I'm curious, like, what do we expect the useful life of these computers to be? And, is there anything that we should be aware of in terms of, like, access? How do we, it's student accessed, but it's, very expensive equipment. Mm-hmm. So how are we making sure that it's not damaged?
So to answer your first question, probably 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
Before technology increases and takes up
Yeah.
more space and needs faster processor memory speed. And just about everything that I recommend that we're replacing, we put on a 5 or 10 year replacement cycle. So I'm trying to budget out 4 or 5 years from now, so we don't get hit with any large bills in one particular year. So be assured that we're trying to keep up to date and not just replacing stuff to replace it.
And then my only other question is this being funded out of our standard budget, or is this money that we had allocated from some special funds?
This is out of the technology budget.
Okay, great, thank you.
And these are stationary workstations. They don't go home with students.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, sorry, I hope you can hear me. I know that the computers seem very expensive, but I want to reiterate how important it is that we fund these projects like this in our schools. I mean, for example, CTV is a new class/program that we have at Coatesville, and it's basically bringing back the news channel because we haven't had one for a long time. And this creates buzz and excitement in the students. There are people who want to come to school just to see this news segment, because I know senior year, it's really a drag because a lot of people just want to get out as fast as they can. But there are people, they're excited to see this. I really feel like it's important that we fund this because this really brings out the creativity in our students. I mean, just recently, we brought down nearly the entire network making these videos for every Friday for students to watch. So that's just kind of as to why they're so expensive, because we're trying to start this new project.
Really appreciate that perspective, Davis. Thank you.
I love it. Thank you. Any other comments or questions from board members? All right, hearing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We're getting there. Item K, recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the purchase of replacement network equipment between Riverside Technologies and Coatesville Area School District for the admin building network replacement in the amount of $36,673.58 as presented. Are there any questions or comments from committee members? And I think if I recall that there were some network equipment upgrades that were done to the school buildings that were eligible under some grant, the E-rate funding, that the administration building is not eligible for that E-rate. So this is something that we've had to do separately, but these are necessary upgrades. Any committee questions or comments? All right, any other board members? Hearing none, please say yes if you support moving this to the full board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Letter L, recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the annual renewal for Zoho Active Directory Manager Plus Professional between Zoho and Coatesville Area School District for the Zoho Active Directory Manager Plus Professional in the amount of $1,795 as presented. And this is the same price as last year. There's no increase over last year's costs. Are there any questions or comments from committee members or from the full board?
No.
Hearing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes. Letter M, recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the purchase of 15 hard drives from Server Disk Drives for the server cold storage in the amount of $1,210 as presented. Do we have any committee member questions or comments? Any on the full board? Hearing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes. And letter N, the Act 34 resolution for the new North Brandywine Middle School. The recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the public hearing notice and Act 34 resolution authorizing the approval of a maximum project cost of $96,202,044 and a maximum building cost of $57,522,490 for the construction of the new North Brandywine Middle School as presented. This is what we heard in our presentation at the beginning of this meeting. Are there any questions or comments from committee members?
Just for clarity, this is us approving the public notice of the Act 34 hearing that would be held next month.
That is correct.
And that this is us moving that to
To the
the
meeting at
full
the end of the
board
month.
meeting,
Yep,
yeah.
just
Yes.
clarity.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? And hearing none, please say yes if you support recommending this item to the full board.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, let's see. That concludes the agenda items. We do not have any informational items, no old business. Is there any new business, committee members? And do we have any public comment? No public comment for this committee. So our next meeting will be Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. And with no further business, the Operations Committee is adjourned at 6:40 PM.
Okay. With that, I will call to order the Finance Committee meeting at 6:40 PM. I am Chairperson Liz Muirhead. Vice Chairperson Shauna Maxwell is excused, and I recognize committee members Bob Knecht. I will put my mouth even closer to the microphone. I recognize committee members Bob Knecht and Liren Yako, who is substituting for Director Robin Seagreaves, who is also excused. First order of business is the approval of the minutes for the November 11th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting. Are there any additions, corrections, or modifications to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approval of the minutes, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the minutes are so approved and will be placed on file. Oh my gosh, now you can all of a sudden hear me. It's like we have a technology director or something who understands how this stuff works. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yes, you should abstain from that.
I'm going to abstain from that since I wasn't on the board at the time, so.
That is a fair abstention. Thank you.
Is that, it's not good.
It's not good.
Then somebody else needs to fill in for you.
Oh,
We need a.
So, Mr. Knecht, if you abstain, then there's not a majority of the committee to move the minutes forward to the full board for approval. If you're not comfortable, that's fine.
Oh, no, I just wanted to make sure, so I can vote yes?
You can.
Yes. Let's
all
get
right.
going.
Let's go. Okay. We have approved the minutes. It's going swimmingly. Okay. Moving on to our agenda items, we have no presentations. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the financial statements and bills payables list as presented. We do have a few extra months for documents that were missing at our last meeting. Are there any questions or comments from committee members on these items? Any questions or comments from the full board? Okay. All in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
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 Okay, it is so moved. Letter B, 2026-2027 Budget Resolution. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the 2026-2027 Budget Resolution, Option B, which is to stay within the 4.5% Act 1 index for budget as presented. We would note the Act 1 base index for 2026-2027 is 3.5%. The adjusted Act 1 index for this district is 4.5%. Before I open it up for comments from the committee, I want to just explain this because this is something that I think is a little bit confusing. The Act 1 law requires us in by January of each year to determine whether we plan to seek exemptions that would allow us to raise taxes beyond the limit applicable to this district. What we are proposing with this resolution is that we will not be seeking any exemptions. We do not plan to attempt to raise taxes beyond the amount that we are limited to do. This does not in any way project that we will try to raise taxes by the maximum limit of 4.5%. In fact, we work very hard with our finance director to keep tax increases as low as possible while still being fiscally responsible within our obligations. So I want to be clear that although this proposal says we can go up to 4.5%, that is not our plan. The language of these two resolutions are specified by the law, and we don't have a lot of discretion with how we do this proposal. Anything you would like to add, Madam Treasurer?
No, you were spot on.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from members of the committee? Any questions or comments from the full board? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, again, for option B, which is to stay within our limits as presented?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, it is so moved. Letter C, 2025-2026 Ready to Learn Block Grant Tax Equity Supplement Resolution. Recommended action, that the Board of School Directors approve the resolution declaring the district's intent to accept and use the 2025-2026 Ready to Learn Block Grant Tax Equity Supplement as presented. An important rule to note is that we do not spend this tax equity supplement in the year we receive it. We receive them this year and we hold them and can actually allocate them to our budget for the upcoming year. And our plan is to use that to help offset our debt service, which is elevated because of the building projects that we have. So that allows us to do some of our building renovations and new buildings with less of an impact on taxpayers from our new borrowings. Members of the committee, any questions or comments on this item? Any questions or comments from the full board? Okay, all in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
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 Okay, it is so moved. Letter D, 2026 Act 80 Comparison Services. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the quote from Burke 1 to provide 2026 Act 80 comparison services for the school district at a cost of $775 as presented. This review is designed to give us the opportunity to review for accuracy the school district code reported by taxpayers on their PA personal income tax returns, make sure that the residence they indicate on their tax returns matches the correct school district that they actually live in. I'll note that even though this is a low cost of $775, it's actually a decrease from last year's cost. There is a new fully digital system, and so it is costing less for them to provide this service. Our hope is that this type of service helps us make sure that any Coatesville taxpayers are not having their income tax revenue go to a different district, that it comes here to Coatesville so that it can be used for the benefit of our students. Any questions from committee members on this item? Any questions or comments from the full board? All in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
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 Okay, it is so moved. Letter E, appointment of Chester County School Authority and Board Representative Robert Knecht. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors ratify the appointment of Robert Knecht, School Board Director, to my left, to serve the remainder of the unexpired 5-year term as the Coatesville Area School District's representative to the Chester County School Authority and Chester County Intermediate Unit Board effective January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2029. This position was previously held by School Board Director Robin Seagreaves, and she is grateful for your service. Any questions or comments from committee members?
I was just going to add, she is very grateful. Your
Yes.
service.
Any
Tell her
questions?
she's welcome.
Any questions or comments from the full board? Okay, all in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
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 Yes. Okay, it is so moved. Letter F, Valbridge Property Advisors Appraisal Services. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors ratify the quotations received from Valbridge Property Advisors to provide appraisal services in connection with real estate tax appeal matters on behalf of the district at an estimated cost ranging from $4,500 to $10,000 as presented. I'm going to give you a plain language explanation of what this is. We occasionally will have property taxpayers in the district challenge their tax assessment in an attempt to lower the amount of taxes that they pay. There have been some tax appeals from the Wawa and CVS locations in the district, as well as from Frieden Village. By having this independent appraisal, it gives us more information for our attorneys to try to negotiate a favorable settlement between ourselves and the owners of these properties. Any questions from the committee members? Any questions or comments from the full board? Okay, all in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
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 Okay, it is so moved. Okay, we now have my favorite part of the committee agenda, which are all of the generous donations from members of the community. I am going to bundle these for our approval. We will group letters G, H, I, J, K, L, and M together. Terry Young Thanksgiving donation, and multiple donors choose donations for different schools within the district. I encourage everyone to look at these generous donations. I would call out in particular the 9th grade health education donation, which is quite sizable and very generous. Are there any questions or comments from the board, from the committee members? Any questions or comments from the full board? Okay. All in favor of moving these items to the full board agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, they are so moved. Next is, I'm going to again bundle the Shutterfly Life Touch service agreements for Scott Middle School, Rainbow Elementary, and Kings Highway Elementary School. I did mention when we approved the Reeseville contract that we would have service agreements coming up for other schools to be approved. So these are all, the recommended action is to approve the service agreement between Life Touch and these respective schools for the school years 2026 through 2029 to include fall individuals and spring individuals as presented. Are there any questions on the items from the committee? Any questions or comments from the full board? Okay, all in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, it is so moved. Letter Q, creation of extra duty position, WCHS CTV School New Program Advisor. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the creation of one school news program advisor for the campus starting in the 2025-2026 school year. This position will pay 520 units, and the unit pay is based on years of experience. The position will be responsible for the overall operation, production, and direction of the school's news program, online and broadcast, providing students with a hands-on experience in journalism, media production, and communication. I'll note this is the club that Davis mentioned earlier. It is a club that we had for a long time, and the reason that the position ended up being removed from the budget is because we didn't have somebody who was willing to advise this club, and now Mr. Haight has stepped into that role.
This was a class.
It was a class,
This was
yeah.
a class. When I was in school, it was a class.
You're right,
So
it
I'm
was.
super excited to see
It
it,
was a
come
class,
back.
you're right.
I don't know, was it a class? Yeah, this is
So excited.
amazing.
So he's actually already stepped into this role and is already
Yes,
doing it.
Yes,
And so we're playing a little bit of catch up here.
we are. He's been doing your book too, so he's a great
So
advisor. So
if you know him, please thank him for
Yes.
stepping into this role because, as Davis said, the students are very excited about it. Any comments or questions from the committee? Any questions or comments from the full board?
Just as, again, a former, long time ago student who had this class, it was, to hear Davis talk about the students' excitement is really exciting to me. I know media has changed so much. I'm sure the sorts of things they're learning has changed so much, but members of my graduating class still, decades later, are working because of this class, really found their paths in TV journalism, some are working as grips in the film industry, as camera people, as broadcasters, and this class really is it's an amazing experience for the kids, so I'm so glad to see it come back.
I hope we can bring it back as a class.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, the club now, but just to see the opportunity and have the equipment again.
No, this is a start to bringing it back for sure, so.
Thank you.
Any other comments from board members?
I remember this from 1973, when I look back in my yearbook, honestly, so I think that's exciting as well.
Love it.
I remember this from 1973.
All right. All in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, it is so moved. Letter R, the creation of 2 personal finance teachers. Recommended action that the Board of School Directors approve the creation of up to 2 personal finance teachers due to the requirements, the new requirements, that all PA schools will be required to implement mandatory personal finance courses that students must complete between grades 9 through 12, beginning in the 2026-2027 school year. So this is something, just for people who did not know, the public school code changed to require personal finance education for high school students, which I think is absolutely wonderful. These positions, then, we may not actually need to hire new teachers to fill them. These are positions that could be filled by existing teachers, but the addition of these 2 positions to the budget allows us the flexibility to add new teachers if we cannot cover the courses with the existing teachers that we have. So we may not need 2 teachers to do this, but this allows us the flexibility. Any questions from committee members?
So are these classes like a full credit deal, half credit? When do you typically would take them? Anytime during high school?
So the current proposal is for a half-credit class, and we were targeting 10th grade. We're still working through TCHS. It's actually part of the education committee. The board approved it back in the November meeting. You'll see a slight update tonight just around some language. But yes, we are targeting currently sort of that 9-10 building, but it must be completed before they graduate, starting with 26-27 class.
So you have another half credit that you're requiring students to take. Is that going to change? Are we going to change anything about what we require now to, I just worry that, some kids just run out of room and things they want to take. And
So certainly that's a consideration, but this would be a 0.5 credit that would currently be a choice elective. It is now sort of a dictated or mandated elective in that space. So we're not increasing the credit requirements for graduation. We're just allocating them to match the requirements for graduation per PDE.
And what kind of background is a teacher? This is a social studies type deal?
So there are multiple types of certifications that are eligible to teach this particular content, including agriculture, business, family and consumer sciences, social studies, and the list goes on, which is why the flexibility that Director Muirhead went through is really important for us. We have the educators, but with the schedule and the certifications, we just need to work out if additional FTEs are needed.
I had a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Does this apply to like the upcoming class of 2027 graduation?
She asked if it applies to the upcoming graduating class. She's a junior. She's asking if she's going to have to take this class next year.
Yes. No.
Oh, no. Thank you.
So you're safe, you will not have to, but your younger classmates will have to make that addition to their schedule before they're able to graduate.
So the class beneath them is going to have to, that's a requirement.
I believe it is a freshman class, Dr. Doherty.
Right. Next year's freshman class. Okay.
Starting in the 26-27, our current 8th graders. Will be freshmen in the fall.
Gotcha.
Okay, great. Good to know. Great question. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? Okay. Move to vote. All in favor of moving this to the full board agenda, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, it is so moved. I'll note our informational items. We have the account codes, legal fees. I'm just wondering, Lori, if you could make a comment about where we stand on a year-to-date basis with our legal fees?
Sure. So if you look at our total budget for the year, I think we're right around the 200 mark into what we've spent through November. So we'll have our December bills coming from our attorneys here soon. But we are well within our budget. There might be some areas where we have to move some funds around, I think related to some of the charter school information. So, but still within our budget, we can just move those funds from one of our legal fee accounts to that cover those. So we are well within the amount that we budgeted for this school year.
Great. I'm thrilled to see us containing our legal costs relative to some of our past experiences. And then we also have the medical claims through November as an informational item. Moving on to old business, we have the LRTA from the city of Coatesville. I had asked for this to be put on the agenda as old business. We saw a presentation from the builder back in November, was it? Was it October? October, back in October. And we have not discussed it since. I did not put a proposal on the agenda for us to vote on because I think there were a lot of questions on the part of both the committee and the board. And so I wanted to give us the opportunity to discuss some of our thoughts and concerns here in a public setting. So I will start just by reminding people of what this is. The LRTA proposal is one that would exempt those properties from paying school tax for a period of, I believe, 10 years. And that is meant to incentivize new development and building that would eventually have a positive impact on the community. The proposal that we were given last year indicated that this property was going to be mixed developmental property, with some of it being apartments that would be owned by the builder and leased, and other single-family homes that would be purchased. The topography of this location is very challenging, and the builder indicated that it would be very difficult for them to economically develop the property without the LRTA. When we looked at the financials of the proposal, there was a projected number of students that would be added to the district because it was not a 55-plus community, but the number was relatively low because they indicated that given the size of the apartments, they did not anticipate a lot of the families living in the apartments to have school-aged children. So that was what the builder said in their proposal. So I'm just giving all of that for context for people who were not here to hear that proposal. So those are kind of the details that we were presented. I will just start with some of my thoughts, and then I would be happy to recognize other members of either the committee or the full board to participate in this discussion. I will say that historically, I do think that LRTA can be helpful in blighted areas to attract development, where you take an area that is not currently developed or an area that has fallen into disrepair, and you use the LRTA to incite somebody to come in and develop that property and create something that will generate revenue over the long term. And when you think about the long-term impact of somebody coming in and developing that property, if they're going to be there for many years, you eventually get to a point where they are paying tax revenue into the district and it becomes positive. However, my concern has always been that, to me, LRTA is meant to incentivize commercial development. I have a lot of concerns about using LRTA for residential properties. In the past, when LRTA had come up and proposals were made for LRTA, and I was a taxpayer and not on the board, I had shared publicly my concerns about using LRTA for residential developments. It's also unclear to me here who's actually benefiting from the LRTA, because when I asked in the presentation who will get the tax benefit, I heard two different things. One, I heard the developer needs the tax benefit in order to develop the property, but then I heard the owner of the property is who benefits from the LRTA. So if the single-family homes won't be owned by the builder, why are those people getting a tax break? And that felt like those messages raised a lot of questions in my mind because they were inconsistent. So since then, I've received a lot of feedback from community members who have a lot of concerns about this proposal. And so I am not compelled to be supportive. I know that the city of Coatesville feels like this is a good idea, but it is a 100% positive inflow of tax revenue for them. They don't have to worry about how many students it might generate, how many charter school students it might generate, which is even more expensive for us. And they don't have to figure out how to get a school bus up that hill to pick up those students. So that's where I stand on it. I'm happy to recognize any other board member to share thoughts.
Yeah, mine, I along the same lines as you, there was, the numbers weren't matching for me, especially in the affordable rent category. I am a landlord, and for a one-bedroom, that just wasn't adding up for me. So if we have a development, I want it to be affordable for our community, all of our community. And that just wasn't adding up. And then I think the numbers of students that it could possibly be having, I think that was a misstep. We have one-bedroom apartments in the Coatesville area that have kids living in them. So yes. I mean, it happens. So I just don't think those numbers were valid with our demographic right now, and that's hard. And I just don't think it was a great compare. Like I don't know if they were really using our data or figures. So for me, that's, and to your point, we have gotten a lot of emails and concerns, and that is something that this board really wants to listen to and make sure that we are hearing every voice and the people that it impacts. And so I'm glad that we're having this opportunity.
Go ahead. I would just say, in addition to what Director Muirhead and Director Yako said, I think one of my concerns about the numbers was, if I remember correctly, they were using a per student cost in their estimates that did not change for the 10-year. The cost per student didn't go up. And we know certainly in the district, if we look at what our cost per student was 10 years ago versus what it is now, certainly it has increased. We know that the costs of everything, of special education, transportation, energy costs, the cost of everything is only increasing. So I just don't feel that the projections were necessarily realistic. I also have a problem with, we have so many residents in this community who are really struggling to pay their property taxes, and we've come a long way. And I think that in terms of the work that we're doing, there's a good push at the state level to rectify some of the inequity as we're seeing with our adequacy payments. But to approve something that benefits one set of residential, folks at the expense of everybody else just does not sit well right now.
Well, I had the same concern as my fellow board members as well, but I would just hope that, knowing that the city is so gung-ho about this, that we could have had further discussion together so we can figure out why the city is so enthusiastic, except for housing properly. But I think we need to have, come to the table, the school board as well as the city of Coatesville.
Director Shrest?
Yeah, so in addition to what has already been stated, I think what really was in what I remember is when we saw the 10-year projections of how it was going to, quote unquote, benefit the district. It basically showed us numbers where the district would be in the negative for the first 4 years.
Yes.
And year 5, maybe we would break even. And I think that does a tremendous disservice to our district. I think it's an insult to people who are struggling at this time. I think it's an insult to longstanding members of our community who are now enjoying their retirement on fixed incomes. I think that's a terrible way to conduct this. And, my mind was kind of settled then, and it hasn't really done much to change. And the communication that we've received from our community members has been wonderful. And I just want to applaud those who have reached out to us. And I just love reading and the amount of education that our members have done in order to properly speak on this part. I just want to express that. So, thank you.
Any other members of the board want to share a comment?
Yeah, I guess I will as well.
Might as well.
I just want to echo, I guess, from a slightly different perspective. I do wish that the city had maybe come to us and presented, because I am curious from a city perspective in Coatesville, just to add a layer to this. Like back in 2017 to 21, Tammy Kanzler came in into Coatesville, built Penn Crossing, which was a mixed income, diverse group of people, largely people from our city that were able to buy homes for the first time in their life and build wealth and start a process of generational wealth building. That's something that our city needs. Mm-hmm. And when I see a landlord wanting to come in, build homes that are unaffordable to our city members in Coatesville, as well as lease apartments that also, I looked at the numbers, are unaffordable to people in Coatesville, yet will drive up future rent rates in our city. How is that also helping first-generation homeowners and potential first-generation homeowners of people in low-income families in our city? And the answer, it's not. So to add another layer, this is disturbing to me when we could look at a model similar to like 2017-21 when Kanzler came in and built homes that allowed families to begin to build generational wealth in our city. This does not do that at all, and that's an additional concern to me.
Director Wilson, I think you make a really great point there that the city's kind of looked at the bottom line and said this is a positive economic impact for them. But what you're saying is that this might actually not be a positive economic impact when you think about how it affects housing and rents across the city. So interesting point.
I had another question.
Please.
I couldn't remember when they gave their presentation. Did they say the school board's decision depended on them going forward?
They did say that they could not develop the property without the LRTA approval. And in order for them to get the LRTA approval, they need 3 entities to say yes. Those 3 entities are the city of Coatesville, the county, Chester County, and the school board. So even if the city of Coatesville says yes and the county says yes, which for both of them, it's a little easier decision because they don't have a negative impact in the projections. they cannot be granted the LRTA without this body approving it. So are there any other comments from the board on this item? Okay. I will say that based on what I have seen today, I am unlikely to recommend that we put an item on a future agenda to approve the LRTA. With that, I will conclude old business. We do have an item for new business. Is there any new business from the committee? Okay, I would like to move to public comment. I know many of you have been here and sat here patiently, and I know that you're happy with what you heard, but we would still like to hear from you and have you go on record with your thoughts, because that is your right as taxpayers in this district. So just to give you a little perspective on how this works, all persons making comments on agenda items must list their name, address, telephone number, and motion items. There is a 3-minute time limit per person. Our secretary will be timing you, no pressure. The board does not take action or discuss items not appearing on the agenda. The board values public comments and wishes to convey that although board members cannot discuss items that are not on the agenda, they listen carefully and appreciate and value input from the public. Just to give you a little bit more context on how this works, I will call the name of each person who signed up to speak. You will have your 3 minutes. When the 3 minutes are up, I will call the next person. The board does not typically respond during your speeches because we don't want to take away from your 3 minutes, but we will listen and take notes. And I know many of you have done a lot of research and have some really good points for us, and we appreciate you.
Ms. Muirhead, just a reminder, get real close to the mic.
Yeah. Okay, we will start with Gordon Bassett.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the opportunity to give our view. My name is Gordon Bassett. I live in the over 55 community of Hillview at 516 Gilmer Road. I have many concerns over the proposed development of Brandywine View, including environmental, potential flooding from storm runoff and traffic, but I'll limit my thoughts to those on the current tax relief sought by the developers under this LRTA request. For the developer to get tax relief on a project that would seem to be for higher price housing is putting an undue cost burden to the school district that is of grave concern. The school district's expenditure on the 68 estimated school children won't be recouped for several years. The cumulative cost will be a burden to the district, and there must be a danger of trying to get that expenditure back from existing taxpayers. This would seem to be inequitable and unfair, especially to us retirees with fixed incomes. I've reviewed the financial data supplied by David Babbitt on behalf of Brandywine View and have grave concerns about the financial impact on the school district and, in consequence, the existing taxpayers, many of whom are gathered here tonight. On the analysis page for the school district, I see that expenditure, as has been said tonight, will exceed revenue each year for the first 4 years. Year 5 shows a close to break even and then positive net revenue. However, my concern is that the cumulative net cost is actually not recovered until year 9. This net cumulative expenditure for those first 4 years will have exceeded $2.2 million by year 5, and then is then only just eaten into and recovered over the next 4 years. It will therefore be year 9 before the school district sees any financial benefit from granting this tax relief to the developer. This is also based on just 68 children out of the new development's estimated population of over 1,000 residents. If the number of children is higher than the forecasted 68, then the cost will be even higher. And the time to recover that cumulative expenditure of well over $2 million will take even longer than 9 years. I think that tax relief to the developers is too much of a burden for the school district and probably in consequence to existing taxpayers. I strongly urge you to reject that request.
Thank you, Mr. Bassett. Next is Thad I am so sorry. Kirch-Gessner. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. And so my name is Thad Kirchgester. I'm also a resident of the Hillview community, residing at 527 Gilmer Road. My wife and I have lived in the community there for about 1.5 years, and we do enjoy it, and we do enjoy the entire area that we've moved into. So just some comments for board consideration. And certainly, I think you've all really addressed this already, but just looking at some facts and some data, the millage rate for the Coatesville School District taxes is currently the highest in Chester County at a rate of 44.364. The reference for that, or the source of that data, is the County of Chester tax rates for 2025. Looking at some information related to revenue and expenditures or expenses in the school district, annual revenue for the Coatesville School District is approximately $200 million. Total expenses for the Coatesville School District is about $517 million. This is based on data that I got from U.S. News and World Report for data on high school statistics. So based on the data that's been provided by the developer, it appears that existing residents being serviced by the Coatesville School District will be footing the bill for the LERTA tax abatement through tax increases, and to Gordon's point, for a number of years to come. So the recommendation is that no LERTA property tax exemptions be approved in order to minimize tax impacts to existing residents serviced by the Coatesville School District. And I would also ask, and I'm sure I speak for the rest of the community here, that this be further investigated with the city if necessary, but it sounds like perhaps that may not even be necessary just based on what you've explained. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next to speak is Paula Rhodes.
Hi there. I want to thank you guys because you cut my part down to almost nothing. I do have a few things I want to throw in there. I hope that everyone at Hillview does understand that the builder benefits from this, that it is apartments he's first building, and he is the owner, so he gets the tax rebate. He gets the tax money. We don't, and we don't pay into the school system, so we feel like we really pay our fair share, and he should too. Adding any extra tax burden to both fixed income seniors and the families of Coatesville, which you all have said, is to feed the builder's pocketbook is just wrong. All these beautiful, by the way, all these beautiful improvements that you're doing to these schools, again, let him pay his fair share to get that done. Then hearing about these possible tax increases and trying to keep to the minute, keep them down, totally counterintuitive. No? And last, this is the one that kills me the most. This board is obviously full of intelligent people. Shame on the builder for trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Shame on him.
Thank you, Ms. Rhodes. Next to speak is James Sotelo.
Hi, my name is James Sotelo. I live at 105 Gaston Lane in Hillview. I want to thank you all for being here for me tonight. And I've been here. I came from California and I moved to Coatesville. I've been here for almost a year and 3 months. And it is fabulous, Coatesville. I love it. I love Coatesville. I live in Hillview. And but one of the most amazing things is that in this short time that I've been here, I've met over 70 people from different areas of the country that have actually came to Coatesville too. And, you know, we're the ones that are already here right now. You know, you're talking about people that are going to come here, but we're the ones that are here right now. So we're the ones that are paying the taxes right now. You know what I mean? So I think what is fair is that everybody pays the same. That's the whole thing here, you know? And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sotelo. Next to speak is David Martin.
My name is David Martin. Live at 304 Randall Lane in Hillview. Many of us here have been following this project since it was first announced to us. Been to several of the Coatesville Planning Commission meetings for the township, but also to the city. And since day one, we've doubted many of the developers' suppositions that, and I just would reiterate what the lady over here said about things as simple as getting a school bus into that development. There's only one way in, and it's substandard. That's been brought up many times. But to simplify the presentation tonight, I just would again reiterate what she said. When you look at that property compared to the intent of the city's own code and the LRTA, it picture the redevelopment of one of the old steel building sites down by the railroad tracks, blighted, broken windows, trash, versus a hilltop, pristine site with a residential neighborhood in front of it, by the way, already existing. It's been shoved down the city's throat, and they want it, that's for sure. But to reiterate what she said about industrial commercial development, for years, the Urban Land Institute, which, by the way, I was a land planner and landscape architect and civil engineer for my whole career. But the Urban Land Institute and many other economists has often said residential development never carries its own weight. It just doesn't. The impacts from residential development are the only way to offset those is to have a reasonable zoning that allows for commercial and office and industrial development. So I would just reiterate what she said. This belongs in the trash can.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Next, I believe it's Jeannie Nelson. Okay.
I didn't think I'd have to talk, but I'm new here, and I only learned. I said I'm new here, so I really just learned about this coming up. But the only thing I wanted to say is, again, about LRTA, that does not seem that that's the point of that rule. It's to help, I actually have it here, it's to really help depressed areas. And the area that we're talking about is not a depressed area. It would be better suited to other commercialized or areas that need that, because whoever gets the LERTA is not going to be paying school taxes. So you only can give that to so many people, and you'd have to get some sort of benefit to come back. This place doesn't even qualify for the LERTA exemption. I don't even know how they could expect to push that through. So that's really, just look up what LERTA stands for. I'm sure you did. It doesn't fit the criteria of what the plan was, is to help Coatesville to get better. That's only going to pad this guy's pockets.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Nelson. Next to speak, is it Mary Train?
That's me. I thought it was a sign-in sheet. I didn't.
Oh, no. No. You put your name down. We're going to force you to speak. No, I'm just kidding. That is totally fine. That is just fine. Next. Yeah, if you do want to speak, could you please come to the mic? Okay, that's fine. I'm glad that you're here to support your neighbors. Next to speak is Karen Harris.
Karen Harris. I'm at 409 Randall Lane in Hillview. I basically want to reiterate everything that's been said. I have some questions and I have some assumptions. Is the builder D.R. Horton? No? Okay. Then that's one question. Has the land already been purchased?
Yes.
Okay, so when the land was purchased, were school taxes paid on the land? Like, I know when I bought my house, I had to pay school taxes. And I don't know on land, I know, like, when we purchased land before to build, we still paid all the taxes. So I thought LERTA's, the whole idea was LERTA was like, here, buy this. And if you buy this, we're going to give you this. And it's like, they already bought it. If they can't develop it, that's a little bit too late for them. The other thing is, I don't know what the builder is, who the builder is. If it's a corporation, for an example, D.R. Horton, because that's who I was thinking was the builder. I had tried to do some research. The CEO for D.R. Horton, and I'm not saying this is the builder, but his annual compensation was $25.1 million, and then he got stocks and bonuses with a base salary. Oh, okay, that was with his stocks and everything else. So whoever this builder is, how much is the CEO making? You know, a family business, and 68 children. That's bull. In 100 apartments. I just reiterate everything everybody said. I hope the school board does what you do for our children in the community. You're building beautiful schools. The costs that we're spending, and then they want to just come in and say, oh, look at our great, beautiful schools. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Ms. Harris. Next to speak is Chris Corrado. No, it does not.
Okay, good evening. My name is Chris Corrado. I live in Hillview, surprisingly, 504 Gilmer. I want to say that this city wants this project badly. They are ignoring their own rules to get it, and the young lady on the end asked a question, why weren't they here before? Well, during licensing, the city requires them to put in an impact assessment and mitigation report. And that report covers a lot of things from stormwater, water they would use, things of that nature. I want to point out subsection 11 of that says identification of economic and fiscal characteristics of the project, including, quote, school district revenues which the proposal may generate and the city, county, and school district costs it may create, unquote. They should have come to you before they went to the Planning Commission, before they went to the City Council, before they wanted approval. We pointed that out numerous times. I'm not a novice. I spent 35 years in the utility industry. I've licensed power plants, utility solar projects, battery storage projects, and every kind of gas and electric wire and pipe you've ever heard of. They are pushing this. The city is accepting, as I said, you know, areas in their own code that the builder's not really coming up with. How is it that the builder hasn't done financials and knows it's not a profitable project without doing an estimate of taxes and whatnot? I find that a little hard to believe. I'd also like to say I see a lot of development right down here on Route 30. Apartments went up last 2-3 years. On the other side of the tracks, I see a big development. Are these developers asking for LERTAs? Has anybody else asked for this? And I just want to point out that Ms. Muirhead said before in her comments on letter C, I forget what it was, but she said she wanted less of an impact on taxpayers for that particular thing. And it was a few $1,000s. I don't remember. It wasn't the $97 million project. It was a small type of thing that was on the schedule. So why would the school district, why should the taxpayers consider giving a developer, it's not the city, it's this guy. Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, I've had conversations with him, and other people in here have same conversations. He will admit he builds and rents apartments. He really has no interest in the townhouses, but he needed the 50 acres because of the Hilltop Development District. I don't know if he mentioned that to you, but in order for him to qualify for the city program, he did that. He won't build the townhouses. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Corrado. We have two more speakers. Next to speak is Sean Donnelly.
No, I thought it was a sign.
All right. We have one more speaker, Janice Hansen.
Oh, I thought it was a sign.
All right. Yeah. They need, so to respond to the question, which for those who are watching the live stream, the question was, if we do not approve this, should residents who are concerned continue to engage with the city or the county, or is that it? Can it not proceed without our approval? And our solicitor was going to respond to that.
Sure. So again, I think to reiterate what the board members have said here tonight is this is just an item that's on this agenda for discussion. So it's not even here for approval at this point. And as far as whatever you want to do next, that is fully up to you. But I think you did hear from the board members here tonight as far as what their inclination is, at least at this point. So.
Yeah, so to clarify, I have not put this item on the agenda because I would only put things on the agenda that I think that we should move forward. I put it on as a discussion item so that I could make sure that we had the opportunity to discuss in public what everybody's thoughts were, to see if I should put it on the agenda based on a majority of feedback from the board. Based on that discussion, I do not believe that I should put it on the agenda in the future.
If I could just mention, I think if I'm hearing your question, if we don't move it forward, that stops the LERTA. Mm-hmm. The builder could decide to do it without the LERTA, and then the school board would have no involvement at all. We wouldn't be able to approve it, deny it. Our role is to approve or not approve the LERTA.
Correct.
So.
Correct.
If I'm understanding that.
Correct. So we would not have a say in whether the property is developed, we only have a say in this body as to whether they get the LRTA exemption. And I do not at this time plan to put that on the agenda. I did want to just take a moment and ask our finance director to clarify maybe some misinformation from the U.S. World National Report as to what our revenue and expenditures are.
Yeah, so just looking at last year's budget, we were in the $247 million range. So I'm not really sure where that information came from or where they got the 500, but that's not where our revenue and expenditures fall right now.
And we are required to produce a balanced budget. So when you see us put a budget together, we will take the anticipated revenues from federal, state, and local, and we will adjust our expenditures so that those two net out to zero. Okay, that concludes public comment. And so that is the end of that. Our next meeting of the Finance Committee will be Tuesday, February 10th, 2026. And with that, the Finance Committee is adjourned at 7:40 p.m. You are welcome to stay for the Education and Policy Committee meetings, but if you would like to get home, feel free.
Okay. Welcome to the Education Committee meeting for January 13th. This evening, I know the president of committee members, myself, sitting in for Robin C. Grease, who is accused, Steve Wilson, and Bob Connect. Is Hannah here tonight? No.
She's not. She actually
Okay.
emailed last minute.
Okay, so Hannah, okay. We have a quorum, so we will move ahead with the meeting. I know that only committee members can approve agenda items moving to the full board agenda. First is the approval of minutes from November the 11th, the education minutes. Does anyone have any questions or comments? All say aye if you approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Aye.
Yes.
Okay. I think we have a presentation, Coatesville School District. Do we, Leah? Okay.
Dr. Doherty is going to go over our 24-25 district data profile, our 30,000-foot view.
Good evening. So you will see in the board docs that there are the presentation as well as our comprehensive data report. That is 45 pages long. I assume you do not want me to walk you through every single page. Oh, there I am. This is just, like Dr. Ryder said, the 30,000-foot overview. So in the data profile, you'll see these headings and a comprehensive look throughout that looks at each of these different areas. Our student data, we are serving approximately 5,250 students. We have 9 schools. We are a large geographic district with significant student mobility through the schools. Throughout the presentation, you will see a future focus. So if there was a trend that we saw that has been occurring historically, we just want to put it out that this is an area that we are looking at and trying to do better in the future. One thing that you'll notice in the data report is some of the data is skewed because of how differently our school buildings were aligned. So going forward, we look forward to that being more comprehensive and more stable with the realignment that will be fully in place next year. I'm sure you're aware, we are 61% economically disadvantaged. We have a 28% special education students with disabilities. English language learners is 8%. We do have a diverse student population, and these factors shape both opportunities and challenges. We love the fact that we are diverse, and we use that to our advantage. You will see that some of the different websites do provide different data. That is something that we are looking into as to why that is different on the different sites. So we will continue to keep you apprised of that. Our attendance rates have continued to trend positively. They have increased by 5% in the past 5 years. Our graduation rate is comparable to Pennsylvania's and slightly above the national average. And we continue to monitor charter school enrollment. And our future-focused approach is designed to support sustainable long-term success and increase our enrollment. I did want to pull out special education. This is taken from the Penn Data website. You will see links that you can access the website directly if you would like throughout the presentation. In CASD, approximately 32% of the students receive special education services, whereas the state average is approximately 21%. So that is a significant difference between our district and the state. That does reflect a higher level of student need. It does require sustained instructional, behavioral, and mental supports, and it is critical in context when we are interpreting achievement data for our district. One of the positive trends, though, that we saw with special education, 55% of students with disabilities spend 80% plus of their day in general education. So that means that fewer students are served in highly restrictive settings than the state average, which means that we are fully focused on inclusion within our school district. CASD is committed to inclusive practices, and we want all of our students to have access to the grade level material. You will see participation data. We currently have our athletics participation, where students have the opportunity to participate in more than 25 different sports programs. We have our music data, and one of our future focuses is to include the participation in all of the clubs and activities in K through 12 so that we can see a more comprehensive look at our student involvement across all buildings and grade levels. Some of our graduate data, our college-bound students, our 2025 graduates are attending over 60 different colleges or universities. 128 graduates reported entering the workforce after high school, and this really shows our commitment to offering multiple pathways to students and a wide range of opportunities that support both college and workforce readiness. We are going to do a state assessment overview. English language arts is closer to state average, and we'll get into that in the next couple slides. Our mathematics remains a significant challenge. Science was not reported this year due to a statewide waiver and transition to the new STEEL standard, so you will not see science data in this presentation. So English language arts, 47% of our students are performing at proficient or advanced, and that's in comparison to the 49.9% of students statewide. 100% of students achieved a growth score in ELA compared to the state growth score of 75.4. So our students are growing. It's just our achievement isn't quite there yet, but we are showing great growth rates. And our 5-year goal is for 100% of students in 3rd grade who take the PSSA to perform at a proficient or an advanced level, which you will hear more about our plan for in the informational items that are coming up. In mathematics, Coatesville has 16% of students performing proficient or advanced compared to the 41.7% statewide. This CASD growth score for math is 56% compared to the state's growth score of 74.9. Our 5-year goal for mathematics is to increase the percentage of CASD students scoring proficient or advanced on Algebra 1 and Keystone exams from the current 16% to 50%. We do want to just remind you that we did just newly implement a new core curriculum for mathematics, and anytime you implement something new, there is going to be a learning curve, but we look forward to seeing the success that program offers to our students in the years to come. This is a showcase of our advanced placement. 138 students took AP placement, test, equity, and excellence. 240 AP placement tests were administered, so keep in mind that some of those students did take multiple tests. 83% of tests administered earned a score of 3 or higher and were eligible for college credit. This is the highest percentage of AP assessments earning a score of 3 or higher in the past 3 years, and we just want to shout out to our teachers, a huge thank you, whose hard work and commitment made this success possible. This is some of our staff data. CASD has a highly trained and experienced workforce. And the majority of our teachers do hold advanced degrees. There has been a significant growth in teachers with master's plus 15 and through the plus 60 credits. All administrative staff hold a master's or doctorate degree. We have both institutional knowledge as well as workforce renewal, meaning that we have a healthy balance of all experience levels. We have a very strong and large number of teachers with 16 to 25 years of service, and also a notable number of newer teachers, which brings a lot of different perspectives to our buildings. One future focus we do have is we are committed to increasing staff diversity through the intentional hiring processes and recruitment that reflect and celebrate the richness of our community. So just an overview, strengths and positive momentum. We've had strong ELA growth across our student populations. We are inclusive with our special education practices. We have stable enrollment base plus the future focus of the Choose Coatesville campaign and data transparency across multiple measures. Some of our future focus, our areas of opportunity, is our mathematics achievement and growth, supporting students with complex learning and behavioral needs, increasing achievement opportunities, aligning resources to student needs. I went through that pretty fast. I'm sure there are questions. What can I answer for you?
Why do you think that 32% of special ed students is higher than is that the statewide?
Yes, the statewide. So one of, and I don't know, Ms. George, if you have any thoughts on this number? We have talked about this and the identification of students.
Good evening. I think if we can think back to when we did the special ed plan, one of the things that we talked about in that plan were, number one, the inclusive practices. But in order for us to have effective inclusive practices, we have to become more proficient with providing differentiation and being able to provide classrooms that meet the needs of all students. And so I think that that's one of the areas that we have struggled with. Our district has really made a lot of improvements with the materials that we're using, the curriculum. Our teachers have gotten really good training in literacy. We've worked hard, and you can see those scores reflect that. But I do think that we're at the point where we now have to be looking at how we differentiate and how we provide those classrooms that allow us to differentiate learning for all of our students. I think that's a big piece of it. The behavioral piece is also something that we have to work on. We have lots of support staff in the district, but we have to look at that classroom management piece. It would increase student engagement, and it would also help with the behaviors that are occurring in the classrooms. So we have to do more work in that area as well. Do you want to add to that?
I will just add to that as well. We are trying to catch at an earlier age the interventions. So as you know, we're doing the Kindergarten Jumpstart program so that we're trying to make sure that they are receiving some of these supports even before they enter our classroom doors, and then putting in Tier 1 measures as early as kindergarten to try to decrease the number of referrals that special education is receiving.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep beating the horse, but also with the, is there a breakdown here of the diversity of students, you know, definitely in the graduation data? And then there was also something talking about, and I have to go back and look, you know, who goes to college, who goes into the workforce. Is there a breakdown? You know, I'm always curious, and I'm tunnel vision when it comes to this, how students of color, where they go. Definitely in November the 25th, when I was sitting in here and hurt to see all the AP students and not, you know, hardly any, maybe one or two of color. So that just does not, still just doesn't look good for us. It's definitely for our mission statement. And, you know, and I know, looking at the full picture here, I understand we're trying, but I also know we've been doing this for a long time, and we still can't seem to identify, well, I know the problem, but some of us can still identify the problem. And also with diversity in staff, you know, a lot of times I used to think about, oh, we need more diverse teachers, but we also need diversity in administration, you know, so I think that's another place we need to look closely at.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that we are looking at the data report is kind of revamping this year and making sure that our data collection process is a little bit more succinct. So, for example, college graduate data, right now we're working on a report that the counselors conduct with the seniors. So that is something that we can absolutely add to that report so that we can make sure that we are reporting out that data as well. And as to the diversity of staff, absolutely, that is going to be a focus across all areas.
I think, if you don't mind, may I, are you done?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. To add on to what Donna was saying, I remember Steve almost a year ago talking about when we get these reports, if we could get like a demographic number, if possible. I mean, we have the data. I mean, we know what our student ratio is. I think what this board has asked over and over, at least for last year, because I remember you sitting there saying it, when these data presentations come to us, to just give us a little bit more, because that equity report like really hit us all. Like, I don't know how it went for other people, but for this board, it hit us hard, and we really want to see changes in those numbers, and we can't see those changes without the data. So, I mean, I like what's being presented here. What I've read, there's a lot of great things happening here. Our administration has a lot to do with that, our teachers, our staff. But we still don't know who we're meeting. We don't know what kids we're getting. And I do think it's expanding, but we can't prove that unless you're giving us those numbers. And I hope I am saying that right.
Right, and just to clarify, so for each data set, if we can, we would break it down by diversity as well.
That would be really great, because again, I know that Steve has said several times, and we haven't done a lot, to be fair. We have not done data reports in a while. This is great. I think we're trying to do a different thing, but the last time that we did, we've had a few board members just echo that.
Yep.
The desire to make sure that we're getting the information, because it meant so much to us what that report said, and that we're doing better. It's part of our goals. So that data is super important when you guys present that to us. And I'm sure you can run a report that way. I mean, is that too difficult? I don't know how all the systems work here.
Sure. So I think some of the data set, as Dr. Doherty said, moving forward, we have some plans in place. We'll be doing a mock-up this summer of what the final report will look like and asking for feedback from the board to make sure we're covering all of the information you're looking for. As you shared, this is sort of a newer addition to the district, or bringing it back. So I think this is only in its second or third year. We are hopeful to have a 5-year solid data set as our schools are sort of realigning. Hopefully for the final time next year, we'll really be able to compare the information along with some of the demographic data. It's been a little challenging as all the buildings have been realigned to really be able to track cohorts across some of these. So we're very excited to share the data that we have with you tonight, but we also recognize that there are areas for improvement, and there are also areas that are not even touched upon in this report from a data set, not even the breakdown of the current data, but other data sets that we'd like to include, things like safety and security, other academic information, a little bit potentially more of our human resources information. Certainly there's lots of information available to us. We want it to be a comprehensive one-stop shop for both our board and our community as they look to get a good picture of what's happening across CASD.
That's great. And to your point, I think, if I'm hearing this right, we haven't had data for a long time here, and we've just started that back in the last 3 years. So we've got to, I understand that and appreciate that. My last comment would be to the music. I was a Meister singer. I went to the carol service. I really hope that we can work on getting those numbers back up. Our band used to be super big and amazing. Meister singers, we won awards, and it's just dwindled. And I think a lot of it has to do with dual enrollment, which means we have to figure out how to get half credits in there, because those overachievers are the ones who want to be in those music courses, but they just don't have time to be in it. And I think you guys are working on that, because it's been said a lot recently, but those numbers are really disappointing to me. But I know that I'm hoping that's a huge priority for you guys too.
Yes. And just reinstating it in the middle schools this year. Hopefully we're bringing that music piece back.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
Could I just add, I'm sorry, I just want to add one thought to some of Donna's comments, where we talked about students planning for their futures and things like that. And there have been a couple of really good things that have happened with the Career Center over at the high school. It's beautiful. First of all, kids seem really, really interested in it, but the best thing is that it gives that opportunity to provide exposure for students about what are your options. What are the things that you could plan for, or you could desire or look into more. I think that that's a really good thing, because I think part of it is that we just weren't having those conversations to the depth that we need to have them. From the special ed perspective, we now have our transition coordinator. We hadn't been able to get her into that position because we had to staff her classroom, but we now have it staffed. So she'll be starting in her position in February, and then we will be working on that from the special ed side as well. So I think that we have a good plan in place to really have those conversations and kind of direct students into their options, and see what they may choose. And we can start those conversations early.
And that's one of the things, too, that we need to figure out, how to direct those students that we're missing to the Career Center, and also all the other resources that are available. That's, to me, that's the gap. And that's not just for the school district to figure out, but the parents, and I think we need to include the community to do that collectively. But we have to do it. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. First question. Saying that you have 32% of students receiving special education service, is that the same thing as saying that 32% of our students have IEPs?
Yes, it is.
Okay, how is that possible? I mean, do you have historical data on that? Because, and maybe I'm getting older, maybe I can't remember things, but 20 years ago, weren't we like at 15%?
Well, I mean, if you're comparing to the state, I've been in this for a long time, and when I started, like 30 years ago, the percentage of special ed was probably around 12% or 9%, whatever. And it's grown over the years. And part of that comes from the litigious, piece that comes with special ed. But I think, if I talk specifically about Coatesville, I think it goes back to looking at the curriculum that we were using, our instructional approaches, how our teachers were trained, and then being able to provide that support within the classroom. And our MTSS support, that kids are getting those tiered levels of support before they are referred for special ed supports. Once a student is referred for those supports, if they're failing or they have repeated behaviors and things like that, based on the law and the definitions of how a student is identified for special education, many of our students meet that criteria. So we have to identify them, otherwise we open ourselves up for litigation. So this is what we have talked about as a team, in that our tier 1 supports have to become stronger, and that we're meeting students before we get to that point of having to refer them.
Yeah, well, I was going to make a statement and ask you to evaluate it. And I think if you're identifying 32% of your kids as special ed, I think there's something wrong with your MTSS system.
Well, we're working on that. We know, and it's a relatively new system that we've started in the past 3 years. So we're working on making that stronger and making it better, and including both reading and math, and then behavior as well, mental health.
And then was there I thought there was a different number too in the.
And that's from 2 different websites.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah. And we also brought a lot of special programming back.
Yeah, that's the other thing. After COVID, prior to COVID, there was no really special programming for students with special needs. In the system, a lot of that had been removed. And then when we came back from COVID, we put some other systems in place. We brought in some, like our autistic support programs, emotional support programs, and then we always did have learning or life skill support and learning support. But we've increased those programs and the people that are providing that support. But in providing that support, they not only support the kids that are in those programs, but we're working together with our gen ed staff to provide support to all students. So we're getting better with that. It's a process, and we're growing it.
And I just want to make an observation, and this doesn't have to do with this report. This is just me talking my book here around charter school costs. But the charter school law in Pennsylvania, which many say is outdated, sets the special education tuition rate based on an assumption that 16% of our students have IEPs. So if you had 100 students in your school, it takes the costs of all of the special education students, which for us would be 32 students, and it divides those costs by 16 to determine the per student rate. So it's essentially causing us to pay double to charter schools what we would otherwise pay if that student stayed in the district, because our rate of special education students is double the rate in the law. So just not related to your data report, but just something that is really good for us to keep in mind.
I think the really positive thing is that in the past 2 years, we have really been diving into these discussions and acknowledging, a student is not a special ed student before they are evaluated. So they're being referred for special ed because something else is not working. And that's not 100% of the time, but that does happen. And so we're having those conversations to figure out how do we prevent that from happening. Let's get on the other side of this and, let's make sure that we're supporting all students before we get to that point.
And that's with all departments.
All departments, that's right, everybody.
Are there any
So-
other questions? Oh, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just a comment and a question. I think, just going back a moment, related to just this being kind of summative information and looking at the comment you were making about just more disaggregated data, right? And so last year we had the equity report. The board, this is more of a reminder, the board has put in a request and we are having an equity report for this past year, again, similar to the previous year. So combining like this data with that shouldn't, I'm not saying it wouldn't be a task, but as a board, we requested that data every year of the equity report. So for all of us, I think that is a standing request that our superintendent knows about and that we're looking at having ongoing going forward. So to combine that with kind of this report, I think would be a fantastic picture, snapshot of what this board's looking for. Secondly, as I'm looking at this, the thought came of like, go big or go home. And I'm looking at this ELA 100% 5-year goal. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yes, I do.
our 5-year goal is for 100% of CSD third grade students who take the PSSA to perform at a proficient or advanced level. Currently, we're at 33%. So I love this. I just have to say, like, I think that's a fantastic goal. You're aiming for 100. Is it realistic? I hope.
We do too.
But I love that we're going big or go home, because that's a critical data point for me to see as an educator and say, if we can actually get close to that or achieve that, then wow. And so my question with that is just the Succeed by 3 proposal. Is that the major component tying into this goal here?
It's a combination, the Succeed by 3, the Jumpstart, and the kindergarten screenings that we're hoping to continue to increase our numbers that we're getting before they even enter the doors so that we can start those educational plans day one, that we're not waiting and getting to know our students and starting these interventions, 6-8 weeks into the school year. Our hope is that we are really laying a foundation that our teachers have the information necessary to start day one with student needs. So there's a lot that's going into that. Like we said, we are looking at our MTSS, we're looking at our programs, making sure they're working. If you remember, the board approved ECRI for Rainbow Kindergarten. So that's another thing that we're looking at that really focuses on foundational skills and boasts really great data points. So we're doing a lot of things that we're hoping makes a positive impact, and 100% by third grade.
Yeah. One quick question, and I probably could wait for the Succeed by 3 proposal, but the task force on that, is that intended to be a in-district task force, or will that be community members as well?
It will be community members. We're hoping for daycare leaders. I know I already have interest from somebody at the Bridge Academy to come out to that. We're hoping to get maybe some local churches involved, so we do want to make sure that that is a comprehensive committee and continue to do outreach to the daycares. I actually just put on my calendar my kindergarten carnival daycare drop-off day, so we'll get the word out. And Dr. Ryder, did you have something to add?
I just wanted to make sure for the community you used an acronym that they may not be familiar with, so if you could just remind everyone of what ECRI is.
Sorry, ECRI stands for Enhanced Core Reading Instruction. It's an overlay to our current core program. So the hope is that what we're seeing is really great data at the end of kindergarten, but it's not necessarily transferring to first grade. So our kindergarten at Rainbow is piloting this program for us this year, and we really look forward to seeing the data that comes out of the winter, spring, and then the fall benchmark for first grade. So stay tuned.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you. All right, continue on with, let's see, number 4, agenda items. A, our first agenda item is a bundled item. We will bundle student event and tournament contracts, items A through D. That the Board of School Directors ratify the following student event and tournament contracts as presented. 1, the Delaware Museum of Nature and Science, the Mobile Museum Walk by Booth Program. Girls Wrestling Team, Escape the Rock at North Penn. Penn Manor Holiday Tournament, Turner Holiday Tournament at Conestoga Valley High School, including all related contracts and price quotes as submitted. Are there any questions from administration? Okay, all right. Does anyone on the committee have any questions on the full board? Okay, if not, okay, can we have a vote to move it on?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, I think that's it. Hold on a second, excuse me. Okay. Okay, E through F, approval of the CCIU federal program agreements, items E through F, that the Board of School Directors approve the CCIU federal program agreements, specifically the CCIU Title I agreement and the CCIU Title II agreement as presented. Are there any questions from the board, committee?
I just wanted, can you just give us a
Sure. So title funds are federal funds that we receive. We are required to support the non-publics in our sort of residence area. Our largest would be Pope John Paul. We will be providing sort of academic supports through some of the title funding and professional supports. Those are required services that students and staff in our district receive as well through the majority of the funds. However, there's a small portion that is set aside to provide similar resources to our non-publics, and this is a requirement under the federal funds that we receive. We manage some of these, and the CCIU helps us to manage other components. And this is an annual, this should look relatively familiar. This board would be approving these annually around this time frame each year.
Where is St. John Paul? Where's
Pope John Paul
Pope John
is
Paul.
like 82 and 322-ish.
Yep.
Okay.
It is the Catholic K-8 school that's located within the district. Those students then often matriculate into Bishop Shanahan, which would not be within our school district at the high school level.
Okay. Are there any questions from the committee? Any questions from the full board? Okay, can we take a vote to move this on to the agenda, put it on the full board meeting agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, G, SMORE contract and quote, that the Board of School Directors approve the contract and quote from School Status for SMORE for teams, 15 licenses for 1 year, starting on February 2, 2026 through February 2nd, 2027, at $130 each for a total of $1,950 as presented. Are there any questions needed from the administration on this? Anybody? Okay, any questions from the committee? Any questions from the full board? All right, can we take a vote to move it on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
H, Intro to Personal Finance Course Updates, that the Board of School Directors approve the update changes to its name and the grade level at which it will be offered for the Personal Financial Management, previously called Intro to Personal Finance course, which was previously approved by the school board on November the 25th, 2025 as presented. Is there any questions or any from the administration? Do you need to say anything about this?
If I just could, I'll add a few details, and then Dr. Doherty, if you want to add on to that. As you stated, the board approved this back in November. However, we have come to better understand that some of the courses already in effect for our high school age students have very similar nomenclature. So looking to provide a clearer name, we feel will help our students to understand what they're taking, as well as to clarify for the state the information. Additionally, our students who attend our TCHS programming starts in 10th grade, so just making sure that we can provide the requirements for graduation while they're in our buildings so that they can remain on track. We want to have a little bit more flexibility within when that particular course, that will be the new name, will be offered. So this is really sort of that information. Because it is already approved, but it's going by a new name, we are asking for the board to just give consideration so that it is very clear for our community. The content has already been approved. It's just the grade level and the name of the course to meet those state requirements that we briefly discussed during I believe, the finance agenda when we talked about the potential for 2 additional teachers being needed to meet this requirement.
Okay. Are there any questions from the committee? Questions from the full board? All right, can we have a vote to move it on?
Yes.
I through J, new and pilot student activities, that the Board of School Directors approve both the crocheting club pilot at, at Kings Highway, that's pretty cool, at Kings Highway Elementary, and the Reading Olympics Club pilot as presented. Any questions from the committee? From the full board? Okay.
I'm sorry, I just had a quick question. Has Reading Olympics been absent from the elementary schools for a while? I know most of them had it, or is this a new?
So Reading Olympics was primarily within the last few years being led by our reading specialists. Prior to that, it had been our librarians. There's been some changes in sort of that library structure within the past few years. As our reading specialists were doing Reading Olympics, it was taking away from their ability to serve the direct needs of students during the school day. So really moving the Reading Olympics to an after-school opportunity, or more that club-like structure where the reading specialist or any staff member who would be interested could really lead that initiative. So the short answer is it's been happening. We're just moving when in the school day it might be happening to make sure we meet the needs of our learners who might need a little extra support from our reading specialists, while also getting the Reading Olympics opportunity to anyone that's interested.
Thank you.
Is the crocheting club a new pilot? Is that new?
I believe that is a new opportunity for our students. Looking to just continue to expand clubs for our youngest learners is something that we're looking to do, whether it be in music, the performing arts, or in this particular case, crocheting. So I know many of the administrative team was very excited in seeing if we could also learn alongside our students.
Oh, my gosh, no. Any questions from the committee?
No, I'm right with you. I'm excited about Crochet Club, and I'm happy to donate yarn because I'm swimming in it right now, so.
That's a
Happy
good
to take it,
idea.
and then you'll end up on the donor list.
Yeah, I'm sure people have a lot of yarn or whatever they use. Any questions from the full board? Okay, can we have a vote to move this on to the full board agenda?
Yes.
Absolutely.
You said absolutely?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
okay, all right. K through L, approval of
Getting
student trip
late.
request, that the Board of School Directors approve the student trip request for Link overnight camp and the out-of-state field trip as presented. Are there any questions? Okay, any questions from the committee? Full board? Okay, can we move this on to the full board agenda?
Yes.
Okay. PRSW, we're getting there. Approval of vendor contracts and service quotes, that the Board of School Directors approve the vendor contracts and service quotes, specifically Power School for Document Management and Attendance Intervention, IU13 Adobe Sign Services, Riverside Insight Easy CBM, and Stryker EVAC, is that EVAC chairs as presented. Are there any questions from the committee?
Did we skip something?
Did I put some? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm
Thank
glad.
you.
Let me go back, okay. M through O, approval of university and higher education affiliation agreements, that the Board of School Directors approve the following university and higher education affiliation agreements, specifically Westchester University Transformative Principalship Affiliation, Immaculata University School Counselor Affiliation, and the rider to the agreement with Eastern University as presented. Is there any discussion or anybody have anything to say?
Can someone give a quick summary on the Westchester piece?
Sure, I would be happy to. Certainly, we have lots of agreements with Westchester. Our student teachers and others come through them. In fact, we've also had some principalships. Historically, those principalships have been for staff members that are currently teaching or working within CASD. This particular agreement is an update to that. We had an outside individual who reached out to one of our principals and wanted to connect with her and use her specifically as the mentor in this program. She was amenable to that. She is giving back, and it is a diverse candidate, so we were very excited to continue to grow the field. However, it wasn't in our current arrangement, so this allows us to make that happen.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Any questions from the board? Okay, can we have a vote to move this to the full board agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, PRSW, approval for vendor contracts. I won't read it all over again unless you need me to. Do we have any questions? Any questions from the committee or for the full board? Okay, can we have a vote to move this on to the full board agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Q, Memorandum of Understanding between Coatesville Area School District and Union Community Care, that the Board of School Directors approve the Memorandum of Understanding between the Coatesville Area School District and Union Community Care for a collaboration to provide on-site primary health for Coatesville Area School District students and families. Union Community Care will provide services all 12 months of the year at Coatesville Area Senior High School. Anyone want to say anything more about this?
I'll just say that I appreciate the board's process of investigation in this and collaboration with Union Community Care. And I can speak for myself, but I think the whole board that we're looking forward to the opportunities for our students through this.
Any other committee members have any questions? Full board have any questions? Okay, I'd like to take a vote to move it to the full board agenda.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Informational items, general upcoming policy or announcements from the chair. I don't think, oh.
TUMB.
Did I miss Q?
TUMB. It's not on her sheet.
It's not on my sheet. Okay,
What's that?
hold on. Oh, that's okay, that's okay, okay. T, oh, can we, okay. Addendum for
Can
E.
these be bundled? They can be bundled.
Okay, T, U, and V can be bundled?
They're all confidential items.
Okay, okay, T. We want to bundle T, U, and V. One is an addendum for the Vanguard School 2025-26 Food Service Agreement, trial placement for a student ID. Do I have to say the number? I can, okay. Okay, U, confidential release and settlement agreement for another student, and rider to agreement with, is it okay to say her name? No, okay. Okay, a rider agreement for another student. No, for that was for the doctor. This doesn't say the student, so. So that's T, U, and V. Does anyone have any questions? Committee?
Just sorry for not putting it on your thing.
Don't worry about it. That's all right. Any questions? Full board, any questions? Okay. Can I have a vote to move it on to T, U, and V to the full board?
Yes.
Yes. There's also a W.
And here, oh, okay. W, no, did I do W? Okay, all right.
Oh,
Okay.
bundled.
So, informational items, a proposal succeed by 3 task force, not quite sure what that is, if anybody has a talk about that, in the Coatesville School District, charter school enrollments for period ending December 31st, 2025. Does anybody have anything say about the informational items?
If we could just briefly talk about the Succeed by 3, I think that would be helpful for our community, and we're very excited about it. So Dr. Doherty is going to come right back up.
So the Succeed by 3 initiative did start out as a Read by 3 with the intention of having all students reading proficiently by 3rd grade. However, in doing some further research and noticing what our students need as far as mathematics and some of the soft skills that they're entering the building with, we felt that there was an opportunity to increase Succeed by 3 to incorporate more things, however, still have a primary focus of literacy. So we want to include members from the community, members from the district, and really get communication, research, and some things that we can put in place that are tangible and actionable and move forward with our students prior to entering the school doors.
And really, as a task force, our hope would be to get those meetings underway very shortly and then provide routine updates to the board as to the work that the task force is doing and potential recommendations that may need to come through the education committee, but really with that end game being that by the time our students reach 3rd grade, they are reading, their math skills are on par, and some of those underlying social, emotional, and behavioral skills are also allowing them to be successful in our environments, which may address some of those things we talked about earlier related to our special education numbers, our work in our MTSS tiers at that core foundational level, and really meeting students where they are and then moving them forward.
How do you plan to involve the community?
We would probably reach out to people to see who is interested. I have put a few feelers out and do have a lot of interest. People are vested in this, and I know some of our community members at our Community Connections Summit that we had in October, maybe, also discussed about the district working collaboratively with the daycares in the area. So I think a lot of people will be interested. It's just we don't want it to be too big because then sometimes it loses focus. So we do want to be targeted with who is involved in the committee.
Certainly, we're also looking for board representation on this committee, so if there are one or more of you who would like to be part of that, please let Dr. Doherty or I know. We're looking to hear all the voices that we can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's quite a few licensed home daycares and group daycares in the city.
Yes.
Okay.
And we will, the CCIU does provide us with a list. I did find out last year it wasn't as comprehensive as we hoped. However, it sounds like as we continue to get the word out that we're doing this, I've actually had people reach out to me and ask to be added to the list. So I'm hopeful that that continues to happen.
Okay.
I think this goes without saying. When I look at the composition of the committee, I'm just going to say what we're implying, what Ms. Donna's implying. It's just the composition of the committee, we're looking at a diverse range of people and places. I think when we're looking at our young learners and their reading levels, and we know demographically who struggles the most, among them, we have to be hearing from the voices of those parents and community leaders, specifically people of color, when it's just statistically larger percentage of low income and students of color are struggling at that younger age group. We have to ensure that our committees are a diverse group of input and.
Absolutely.
Right,
And we
diverse
will.
stakeholders.
Yep.
Yes.
And we will keep that at the forefront as well as how we're holding the committees to make sure it's accessible for multiple members.
I operated a group daycare for over 20 years in the city, so I.
So you're going to be on our task force?
I can connect you.
Say you walked into that one.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
I wanted to make a comment on the informational item for the charter school enrollment. So I wanted to point out that we've seen a decline in charter school enrollment of 90 students relative to the same time last year. If you look into the data, it looks like that's primarily coming from students that have returned to the district from collegium. But I also have noticed as we look like on a cohort level, if we look at each grade level, it does look like we're improving the metrics of how many students actually start off going to charter schools as well. When it comes to the bricks and mortar charter schools, there's a little bit more mixed in terms of the cyber schools. There's been a decline of attendance at some of the more ancillary charter schools, but a modest increase for the two primary cyber charters that serve our area. But it's a very positive trend. And so I just wanted to point that out because we know how important it is for our budget to continue to attract and retain students from charter schools. And so I just really appreciate the work that the administration has been doing on that front. And certainly that goes to our entire group of educators because it's one thing to attract students back to the district, but they have to have a good experience here in order to feel good about that choice.
Okay. Any more comments?
Just a quick one. On our enrollment report for the district, how are students that aren't placed in the district represented on there? Like if they're in an out-of-district placement, are they represented on that sheet?
An out-of-district placement that we are placing?
Yes.
From like a special education perspective?
Sure.
Ms. George, do you know the answer to that?
Like if we have a student at North Brandywine who's placed somewhere, are they in the numbers for North Brandywine?
Yeah, so like if we have a student at the Vanguard School, then.
Is my kid in that?
So they are still considered members of the school district and they would be attributed to their appropriate grade levels?
Okay.
So it would only be if parents unilaterally place them, meaning at their expense, that obviously they would not show up on our reports. But if we are funding their placements, unless it is through a settlement agreement, they show up in all of our data reports because they are still attributed to their neighborhood schools.
Okay, interesting. And then I do have a request moving forward, if this won't be too much trouble. Could we have another report like that that details where all our students are placed?
We can certainly look into that, and I can talk with Dr. Barczyk. I mean,
We can give a report on the placements that we have, with the numbers of students, and then we can't give you names or anything.
Oh, no, I don't want, I don't want their names.
Placements and the numbers of students.
Yeah, it would just be interesting to see where everyone is.
and some of that is part of our special education planning that's required at the state level and other components that are all publicly posted as well on other websites.
And, you know, the reason I say that is years ago, and just for, you know, maybe some of the board members that don't know, when the Gaskin settlement was made in Pennsylvania, Coatesville was the second worst district in the state as far as out-of-district placements. And we had a lot of kids in a lot of places that, number one, weren't good placements, and number two, were very expensive. And, you know, going back to that diversity and things like that, a lot of people pound their chest here about diversity, but when it comes to actually educating diverse students, for a long time it was out of sight, out of mind for where we were sending people. So let's not do that again.
I would just reiterate, we've certainly opened more programs and are keeping as many of our students as we can within our buildings, and that's something we're taking pride in, and that's what you'll see in some of the numbers as we look at our special education teacher reports and things like that. But certainly your point is well taken.
Okay, let's move on. Where was I at? Golly. Okay, old business, any old business? Okay, any new business? Okay, without public comment, is there any? Wonderful, okay, all righty. All right, our next meeting will be held on Tuesday, February 10th at 2026. If there is no other business, I adjourn the education meeting at 8:36 p.m. Can I
All
make a
right,
suggestion?
I'd like to call to order.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I make a suggestion? I don't know if I'm out of order. I see Davis and the other young lady sitting here. Maybe in the future, we can move them up a little soon, closer, instead of at the end of everything. They have to go to school tomorrow, you know, but that's just a thought. Oh, okay, all right, okay.
You guys can go. If you guys want to go now, it is getting late.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you guys are dismissed. Thanks for coming, guys. I appreciated your questions.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's, there's sometimes things on the,
And I have tried to
yeah.
Okay.
email in advance if there's anything.
There's sometimes things on the education agenda that we definitely want you to have the opportunity to share your opinion on.
Thanks, guys.
No.
Yeah. Okay, I'm calling to order the policy committee. I am the chairperson, Holly Charest. I note the presence of vice chairperson Donna Rowland and board members Beth Brindle and Leon Yacco. We currently do not have an employee representative. I'm going to move on to the approval of the minutes. The recommended action is to approve the minutes from the November 11th, 2025 Policy Committee meeting. To my colleagues, are there any questions or corrections needed of the minutes?
Seeing none, all those in favor of moving the minutes to public record, please say yes.
Yes.
And that is so noted. We have no presentations, so I'm moving on to agenda items. I am going to bundle item A, B, C, and D. To my colleagues, these are all items, all policies that are ready for second readings. Policy 206, Policy 211, Policy 216, and Policy 216.1. To my committee members, any questions, comments? To the members of the board, any questions, comments? Seeing none, please say yes if you would like to move these up for approval from PSBA.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Okay, agenda item E, Board Policy 239, International Exchange Students, first reading. Action is the Board of School Directors approve Policy 239, International Exchange Student for a first reading. Just to note to the public and the rest of the board, the items changed in this policy was to change the language. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. It is to change the name from, it was originally titled Foreign Exchange Students. It is now changed to International Exchange Students. It has also been reviewed for compliance with current federal laws and updated for formatting. And then we removed unnecessary definitions, and there were some minor language changes. To my committee members, any questions or comments regarding this policy?
No.
To the rest of the full board, questions or comments regarding this policy? Seeing none, please say yes if you would like to move this policy forward for second reading.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes. Okay. Policy 702.1, crowdfunding first read. Recommended action, Board of School Directors approve Policy 702 crowdfunding for a first read. For this particular policy, it was reviewed for cohesion with an updated AR. There's updated formatting in this, as well as removed unnecessary definitions, and also there were minor language changes. Committee members, any questions or comments regarding this policy?
No.
Rest of the full board, any questions or comments regarding this policy? All those in favor of moving this forward for a second read, please say yes.
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 And yes. Okie dokie. Next is letter G, Policy 903, public comment. The action is to approve Policy 903, public comment in school board meetings for a first read. I just want to note for this particular policy, there's updated formatting throughout. And then under the section titled Broadcasting and Recording of Public Comment, the statement, they removed the statement that public comment portion of a meeting would not be broadcast live. Under the subsection Preserving Confidentiality, it was reworded to make clear that following any live broadcast, no recording will be disclosed if it violates FERPA or any other relevant statutes. To my colleagues, to my committee members, any questions or comments about this policy?
Don't we have to answer some of these questions?
So that was left in there because we weren't clear if we needed to have discussion about that. This is if we wanted to add these particular items to the policy. These particular items would require anybody who wanted to make a public comment, they would have to submit it at least 24 hours prior to the meeting.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, so, I mean, we've, I think, been talking about this a lot as a board. I mean, it comes up here and there, and I know that, you know, we created that document. So people who are here know how to do, because it wasn't very clear with the language. I felt very legalese. And we all wanted to make it easier to understand. We also want to make it easier to access on our website. I know that I was working on a few things and then gave it to Dr. Rabarchek, just so it's easy access under the board part of the web, you know, website, well, the website under the board. And just so that doesn't have to be part of, that was like it's more of like a process than it is anything else.
So I think we're talking about two different things.
Okay, maybe we are.
If there's like inquiries that you want to be able to submit to the board as far as written inquiries and you're requesting feedback or information, et cetera, I think that's more what you're talking about as far as on the board webpage. But
Okay.
I think at some point, maybe even going back now, possibly over a year, there was a discussion about allowing for public comment to be, or written public comment to be submitted at a certain point, like prior, like with a cutoff point that could potentially be then read at the meeting. That's, so that,
With
that's
the idea that somebody might not be able to be physically present at the meeting, but
Right.
wants
Yes.
to have comments recorded.
Because during COVID, we did have that short, brief thing where we could submit to the president of the board and that he would read it. And, but we don't have that policy anymore with virtual meetings. But I guess the conversation is, do we want to have written in
Right, so that's up to
comments?
the board,
That
if you want to
More
allow for that,
transparent.
and if you're going to allow for that, how would you regulate it, and what kind of rules do you want around that? So that is up to you, that, we're not gonna write that for you.
Right.
Unless there's certain things that you want in it. I mean, we can, and I think, so what we did was there's some options, but we weren't gonna write it
Right.
in until you all had the chance to review that and make your decision on it.
A question for the solicitor. I don't know if you have experience with other districts that, is there a sort of a best practice or a standard? I mean, I think, speaking for myself, I want to make sure we're being as accessible to the public. If there are people who regularly watch on the live stream or need to watch on the live stream one time, if they can't physically get here or it's a burden to physically get here, they should still have the opportunity to have their voices heard. I also understand we need to balance it with giving us some lead time to see it. And
So we have, in the past couple of years, and it really kind of going back to COVID is when a lot of this started, at least off the top of my head, districts that I work with, I can think of 3 or 4 where we implemented some form of this, whether there be a cutoff time period on the day of a meeting that a written public comment has to be submitted by, and then obviously it would be still subject to all the time, place, manner, types of speech that are permissible in a public forum, regulations that we have otherwise within the policy. There's another district even went so far as to allow like a call-in recording. But what I can also tell you is that the districts that went through the hoops to then implement this, people don't utilize it. So, I mean, it's rare if ever. When I say rare if ever, I'm talking about like years of people not actually submitting anything in writing at this point.
thank
But-
you.
But if we're updating the policy already, then we could add this without necessarily an undue burden.
But it's a process.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out our administration would have to figure out a process of collecting them and then.
But has there been a request from the public for anything?
I am not aware of
I
any
have.
requests from the public.
Yeah. We get emails, but those aren't requests for us to say.
Yeah, so the emails to me are sufficient
Yeah.
to answer questions,
Yeah.
you know?
And then plus, another thing is, I mean, it's, they can submit, even if they were to submit their public comment, it's not like we can respond to them, you know, because it says when we announce public comment, that the board is not allowed to respond to public comment. We're just listening anyway.
Wasn't that something else we wanted to look at, though? There's moments where we do want to, I don't want to, like, open that up, like.
Yeah, I think it's a bad precedent to create dialogue during that period. I think that the chair of a particular meeting can always use their discretion, as we did earlier, to, kind of at the conclusion, respond to anything that maybe felt like it needed in the moment correction.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was just.
We could probably just do like a case-by-case basis, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I did have something else in the policy.
I feel like you and I read another districts, and we were like.
I just, one of the concerns that I had about the policy to begin with is that it talks about the formal board meeting, which is all of the board members in quorum as a meeting, but it also talked about the committee meetings as being a meeting, and a committee meeting is only the 3 or 4 members of the committee. It is not the full board, even though we're all sitting up here. The group that is in that meeting at the time is only the 3 or 4 members of that committee. And the way that this is written right now sets those two equal. It also provides that there are 2 public comment periods at all of those meetings, and that is not our current practice.
Right.
So my question is, are we maintaining that language? In which case, are we going to now have 2 public comment periods at committee meetings?
That was we were reading in other districts, and they had public comment in the beginning of their committee and at the end.
Not all of them. So districts that use a committee of the whole structure.
That's right, you're right. Yep,
The
thank
committee of
you.
a whole means that that a quorum of the entire school board is in the meeting, and so they have to, in order to follow applicable law, they need to allow the public comment in that format. Districts that do individual committee meetings, sometimes they're even on different nights. We do all of ours on one night, and we don't move to the audience and move back, so it kind of looks like we're all in the meeting, but we're actually not. And so it's a little confusing from that perspective. I want to make sure, if we're going to treat them the same, then we need to change our agendas to add another public comment period, because that's what this policy says. If we're going to leave public comment for committees only at the end, this does not reflect that. This does not distinguish between board meetings where we have a quorum of board members
And
in the
that's where we
meeting.
got, not in trouble, but that's where the confusion was on social media a few months ago, where they didn't understand why we weren't taking public comment, or why we weren't addressing, or how it worked. And I think we read it over and over, and we're like, oh, yeah, it is a little
The policy is confusing.
So for that, my suggestion would be to just rework the committee meeting section. Well, depends. What do you guys want to do?
Right, so the question is, do we want to allow public comment at committee meetings on the agenda items for the committee, and then allow open public comment at the end of the committee meetings, in which case we should make sure this policy reflects that and change our practices. If we want to have the policy reflect what we have been doing over the course of the past couple of years, then the policy needs to be amended so that committee meetings and full board meetings are not defined identically and have different procedures.
Yeah.
For clarity, in our committee meetings, what we're saying is we're going to open it to public comment twice or keep it singular. Right?
Correct.
So-
The way the
so if that-
policy is
if that-
written right now says that we would have two public comment periods.
So my suggestion is, since we are keeping our 4 committee meetings all in one night consecutively, making it sometimes a long night, my recommendation is to keep it to singular for each committee. That we've been doing. No one's leveraged complaints on that. There's been confusion, but not complaints, to my knowledge. And so I do think we could give people voice, we give them opportunity to speak. I don't know if we want to open that up to twice per committee when we're already doing
No, I
4
think it might
committees.
get redundant,
I agree.
to be honest.
So then the second question that I have there, if we're going to leave it in the current format, do we, the other issue that resulted in confusion and some feelings of being disenfranchised by a community member were that the current policy requires that the comments at the end of a committee meeting only relate to committee agenda items.
That's right.
So do we want to allow people to make comments only on items that are on that committee agenda? Or do we want to also create an opportunity for them to have open comments on things not on that agenda but pertain to that
Relate to it.
committee? Is there a concern or
We haven't had like.
or guidance from the solicitor on that?
So what I would suggest is if you're going to make it any item on the committee agenda or any item that may come before the board, right? Because you're talking about,
I'm saying any item that could reasonably come before that committee, because I don't want a policy comment happening on the finance committee just because somebody doesn't want to stay until the policy committee meeting. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. If you're going to do that, then my suggestion would be to also put either a number of speaker limit on it or a time limit overall. So then you're not caught in a position where, you know, we're going on for 2 hours on one committee and then you've got 3 more committee meetings.
I mean, we,
Still work.
that one meeting was, they needed to be able to say it to the entire board.
right.
And I think most of the time when they're doing it, it's not just about that committee. It is directed at the whole board. So, I don't know.
I don't know how much good order this would be, but one possible option is that we provide that the public comment period at the last committee meeting of the evening would be open to public comment on any item, regardless of whether it's been on any of the agenda items and any of the agendas. And that keeps it from interfering with the order of business for the evening, but it would allow us to be to create an opportunity for people to speak about any matter that didn't come before any of the committees.
Or we can just do what we've done. We just need to be very clear about what we're doing, which is what I think we're trying to do, right? We're trying to clean this up.
Yeah, I'm just
I'm
just saying these are some different things I can think of, and I don't know if that's, like, if we could say whatever the order, like, if we went policy first, because we had a lot of policy stuff to get through, and finance was last, like, just trying to think through what are some of the different ways we could handle that so that it wouldn't interfere with the progression of business.
I have no objection to doing what Lyran suggests, which is kind of keeping things where we are just being very clear about things. I don't want to make people feel disenfranchised, but at the same time, we could possibly open ourselves up to, you know, an extensive period of time with, you know, conducting business meetings that, I don't know. I don't want to say anything else right now because I'm tired, I'm getting a headache, and it might come out wrong, so.
I think Director Muirhead's suggestion, for me, just thinking about the constituent, and this is maybe basing it too much on one anecdotal, one situation, but when there was a a resident here, a parent, who was very upset. I felt terrible that we were not hearing her, and I understand the reasoning. It was in line with our policy. I don't think we did anything wrong, but it also didn't feel good to have to turn them away when they, so I think perhaps to think about Director Muirhead's suggestion of putting comments, allowing them after the final, or at the end of, because it would still need to be within the committee meeting, because we're not moving to a full board meeting, but within the final committee with a time limit, maybe as the solicitor suggested, for total, in addition to the 3-minute time limit per speaker, if there was an overall time limit of
30 minutes.
30 minutes is what I was thinking. None of us wants our meetings longer. The public doesn't want the meetings longer. I don't think it would be used frequently based on.
No, I
Unless
agree.
you have something
So
to say.
how about we just remove the policy, send it back to get reworked or tweaked if, Liz, Liren, whoever has those suggestions on how to clean this up, want to send it on, let's just do that.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah, that works.
Just for clarity though, so we're not doing any undue work. Are we saying to go ahead and draft something like that addition to the end?
I'm suggesting we take 903 off the agenda and send it back to have it worked on, so that we can be more clear and also give the opportunity available to the public so that, if it needs to be used, it can be used. We have it in writing that we can do it, and then we can maybe, hopefully, avoid any kind of future confusion.
Sorry to belabor this, but just to be clear, the request is that the last public comment session for any committee meeting of the night, any member of the public can address that committee on anything, because I want you to also remember that you may not be sitting as a committee of the whole all the time moving forward either.
That was one suggestion that I had in order to create the opportunity for public comment on non-agenda items without it interfering with progression of business for the entire evening. I have other ideas of ways to do that. One is, again, for at each committee meeting that the public comment would be on items on that agenda or any other items that could reasonably come before that committee. The other idea that I have on that is that if somebody wanted to make a public comment on something that wasn't on the agenda, that they would have to submit a request in writing 24 hours in advance of the meeting so that we could put an item on the agenda to accommodate them at the beginning of that committee meeting. So there are different ideas that I have on how to accommodate this. And I think that we would look to administration and council on which of those is the best way to address both the concerns and kind of the pragmatic aspects of running business meetings efficiently.
I like to say, there's a lot of discussion for something that we can table or, we're taking, it's 9 o'clock now. And so I understand, wanting to be clear about some things, but we're taking all this time with something we can discuss at another time. It doesn't make sense.
That's why I'm suggesting
Yeah, well, let's
we
suggest
just
that.
take it
Let's
off
move-
the
take it
agenda
off the agenda and move on. We're not
and
going to.
move on.
Yeah, we're not going to clear it up tonight.
Okay. So the consensus I'm hearing from committee members is that we remove policy 903, send it back for additional edits, and we can discuss it, bring it up at another committee meeting. Okay. Any of my committee members, if you are in favor of that, please say yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
All right, so moved. All right, last one on the agenda, policy 918, Title I, Parent and Family Engagement, first reading. This is for to approve, Board of School Directors approve policy 918, Title I Parent and Family Engagement for first reading. Trying to see if there's any notes. Is there anything that needs to be elaborated regarding this policy? Why we have to do it or edit it or whatever?
So it's required to be reviewed annually.
Okay.
And it's really here, the substantive additions were really made to the AR, but we
Okay.
kept them packaged together.
Okay. So there's no anything to call out like as a major edit or anything like that?
No, there were it's really just some minor updating that was added to the AR, some language that the administration had requested we add
Okay.
to better comply, things that the district's already doing but weren't necessarily reflected in the previous version.
Okay. All right, thank you. Committee members, questions or comments regarding this policy? Board members, questions or comments regarding this policy? Please say yes if you want to move this on to a second reading.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I just want to point out, for informational items, there's a list of all the ARs associated with the policies. I just want to draw attention, there's a lot of ARs under the informational items that say repeal. I just want to clarify that that doesn't mean we're taking anything away as far as a policy concern. The reason why it's repealed is because that AR has kind of been put into another AR that has been discussed. So for example, under policy, so with policy 206, the policy 206 AR, underneath you see repeal 206 AR1, and that actually is now a part of the first AR that's listed, policy 206 AR-0. So I just want to clarify that for the public so that they don't think we're trying to get rid of policies or trying to get rid of ARs. It's just because of the editing and putting ARs together and so forth, we have to list it as repealed. Anybody on the board have any questions about that? Okay. We have no old business. Is there any new business? Any public comment? Okay. Next meeting is Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, and I'm adjourning the Policy Committee at 9:06.